Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for clicking. It means a lot that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And today's video is a video that I've been looking forward to doing for a while now. I want to talk about each season and why I feel like they're all really watchable for one specific reason each. And I think to me, this video proves that you can find something watchable for each season. Even the bad seasons like Thailand, like One World, like Ghost Island, all have things about them that are still captivating and interesting. And of course, seasons like China and Cagayan and Dave vs. Goliath that we all hype up also have their things as well. And I think that this video overall will, be able to help out people who haven't seen any seasons, the people who have seen some seasons and are still going through their binge of these seasons at this point, and also people that have seen every single season. I will give a vague spoiler warning, as I do think I am going to kind of vaguely spoil some tiny elements of a season. I will obviously never name drop a winner, so obviously the big and important things will not be spoiled, but I will say that I probably will drop, like, for an example, someone's placement area, like maybe that the fact that they go out pre-merge or late merge or early merge, but nothing too important, so you should be fine. And before I start, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, because it's free, it's easy, and it really helps the channel out. Starting off hot with Borneo, the reason why I think that you should watch this season is because the main strategy that's been consistent throughout 42 seasons as of recording this video and beyond, something that pops up in every single season originates in this season. The biggest strategy that's ever happened in Survivor, the most universal strategy it's seen in any version of Survivor that's ever existed after this, is created and shown to be successful in this season. In season 2, Australian Outback, we see one of the craziest medical evacuations ever in reality TV history, and really the moment where Survivor became real, where it was no longer water cooler, like, oh, like that show's probably fake talk. No, the show became very, very real after this medical situation. On top of that, we really get our first big hero from the show's history in this season, and also the character development in this season is top notch. Season 3, Africa, really does give us our first anti-hero, someone who is not necessarily a villain, but definitely not a hero, and someone who's kind of multi-layered as far as their character goes, is willing to play the game pretty hard, but has heroic and likable aspects to their character. And then on top of that, we also have one of, if not the hardest location that they've ever filmed out on, one of the most dangerous seasons as well, where the players had to be literally put in little camps that were blocked off with fences from the wildlife because it was that dangerous. Intense season for sure. In season 4, Marquesas were introduced to a pretty rowdy pre-merge character who ends up being a Survivor legend in the future. We also see tons of blind sides, a change in the way that the game is played with the first major flip, in which a majority alliance comes toppling down from head to toe at the hands of a group of people who are at the bottom of their tribe. Season 5, Thailand, sees a dominant winner utilize a new strategy called the GOAT strategy, in which you herd a player to the end who has little to no respect from the jury and therefore is an easy beat at the end. Season 6 is the first of 3 men versus women seasons, in which a player takes the game by its neck and really shows us that you can get far in the game and succeed just by flipping back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Season 7 gives us possibly the most likable person to ever touch foot on Survivor, and possibly the most unlikable person to ever touch foot on Survivor, the biggest Survivor heroes and villains in the same seasons. It's a great, great season. This season is also home to the biggest lie ever told in reality TV history. Season 8 is the first returning season in which we see a bunch of all-stars from the first 7 seasons faced off in a strategically cutthroat game in which alliances, friendships, and relationships are broken and made. Season 9, filmed in Vanuatu, is the second men versus women season, and it gives us a great comeback story, possibly the best one that's ever been seen on the show. Very simply, in season 10, Palau, we basically see 2 tribes get demolished. It's just that one happens first and the other happens second. In season 11, Guatemala, we see 2 players from the previous season return as team captains to head a very aggressive newbie cast who is going for the blind side, and to top it off, they're all playing in the Mayan ruins the entire time. Very, very cool season. In season 12, we have a few regular people among a bunch of insane people, a great cast of insane personalities, and you'll never know where to look on the screen to find the craziest person. In season 13, Cook Islands, we see the cast divided by race for their tribes. On top of that, we get one of the coolest stories to date in Survivor from start to finish, and possibly the most competitive final tribal that we've ever seen in the history of the show. Season 14, Fiji, we get a very interesting twist in which one tribe is given a bunch of supplies and help in the game, and the other tribe is basically given nothing and also a worse island. It's a very interesting twist that makes some of the players very likable and some of the players very unlikable. On top of that, we also get a very beautiful location that we will get used to later on. And I think, to me, this is the start of the middle age of Survivor, with the first modern, successful idle play happening this season. In season 15, China, we get one of the most likable players and really their rise and fall. And it is one of the hardest falls that we've seen on the show to date after 42 seasons. On top of that, we have a very strategically able cast who is willing to play the game hard, and one of the best winners, I think, to this date as well. In season 16, Micronesia, we see the introduction of the fans versus favorites twist for the first time, and we also see a gender-based alliance that dominate the game for the first time in the show's history. The back half of the post-merge is some of the best Survivor that I've ever seen in my entire life. This is definitely worth a watch as well. In season 17, Gabon, we see one of the craziest casts of all time. It's a very odd season, it's very backwards, and it's known for being quite chaotic as far as how the players are behaving in this season. Very toxic in a way, but also very likable in a way. Season 18, Tocantins, has probably the best location that they've ever filmed at. It's absolutely beautiful. It's in Brazil. It's absolutely amazing. We also get the biggest character in Survivor history in this season. In season 19, Samoa, we are introduced to possibly the most iconic, aggressive, and also on top of that, polarizing player that had ever been on the game to this point, and probably still to this day has ever been in the game before. Season 20, Heroes vs. Villains, is the most iconic season that Survivor has ever had, with 10 villainous players from the first 19 seasons playing against 10 of the most heroic players from the first 19 seasons. In season 21, we get one of the most hostile casts, but it's also contrasted with one of the most positive winners that we've ever got. In season 22, we see two very aggressive players battle it out in a Survivor that has a whole new format in which you can enter back into the game. We also see an extremely dominant win and really what is a crash course on how to play the game of Survivor while in complete control. In season 23, we see a very odd religious cult control the entire game and use their religion to manipulate the members within the group to feel safe until it was too late, and the person who headed this all doesn't even win the game. In season 24, we have one of the most unlikable casts, but it's actually funny because they're so unlikable that you can root against every single person on the cast except for the winner, and it's very obvious who you are supposed to root for. On top of that, we get one of the most polarizing and unlikable pre-merge villains that I've ever seen in my entire life. In season 25, Philippines, we do see one tribe completely fall apart. We also see the comeback arc of two players, and on top of that, the gameplay spikes up again after the dip of 21 through 24. In season 26, Karamoman, we see the second edition of the fans versus favorite moniker, in which we see one of the most heated moments in Survivor history, as well as some pretty dynamic post-merge gameplay using blindsides and idle. In season 27, Blood vs. Water, we see a tribe of returning players put against a tribe of their own loved ones and their own wives, husbands, sisters, whatever, etc. And it adds an element of love to the game. Do I vote out my own family member? And hint, hint, they do. In season 28, Cagayan, we get possibly the best newbie cast, or just cast in general, of all time, with 3 S-tier characters who could probably carry seasons on their own, all being on this season and all making it to the finale of the season. In season 29, San Juan del Sur, we see the return of the Blood vs. Water twist, except this time it's all newbie characters, and it's a very aggressive newbie cast. In season 30, we get a cast full of big personalities and big characters, a bunch of kind of nasty fights and rivalries, and also a great story for our winner as well. In season 31, the game kicks into this new school era to me with the abundance of voting blocks rather than long-term alliances, in which every single round the alliances are switching up over and over again, leading to very dynamic gameplay as well as people being blindsided every single round. In season 32, we get a very dangerous season as well as a very character-based season in which we really do get to know almost every single person who makes it to the merge extremely well. We get some legendary characters, some very likable people as well, and the villains are kind of likable in their own weights as well. In season 33, we get a very likable cast in which even the worst villain on the season is still a very nice person. Everyone's super cordial, but the gameplay is still cutthroat as well, and the big moments are definitely still there. In Survivor 34 Game Changers, we see a return of this voting block way of playing Survivor in which the game changes every single round, some gigantic twists, and a crazy moment at the start of the finale that changed the game forever. In season 35, Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers, we get a very aggressive newbie cast who is really out there to build their resumes up one move by one move. We get people kind of playing out of their archetypes and playing differently than how you may expect them to, and a great ending to the season. In season 36, we have two forces coming at each other at Final Tribal, and let's just say the jury can't make a decision. In season 37, David vs. Goliath, we see a bunch of underdogs put against a bunch of overdogs, and we get an amazing result with a great season, some crazy blindsides, a pretty non-salty cast, a very likable group of people, villains that work very well. It's overall a great season. In season 38, we get a game-changing mechanic added into the game in which players can come back who have been voted out first, second, third, and go all the way to the end of the game just by sitting on an island doing nothing. In season 39, Island of the Idols, we get players given the opportunity to go visit legends of the game on a secret island that nobody knows about and be given advice and then be tested on that advice to see if they learned their lesson. In season 40, the all-winner season of Survivor Winners at War, we get a very dynamic cast that really does have so many intertwined connections between seasons and friends of friends and pregame alliances, and it all comes to a head with gameplay that is so complicated you have to watch the episodes 3 times in a row just to wrap your head around it. It's very complicated and very fun. In season 41, we see the return of post-COVID Survivor, and it comes back with a very serious tone, a very serious cast, and some cutthroat gameplay, especially in the pre-merge. And finally, in season 42, we get a cast that really does know when to have fun and when to get serious at the right times, leading to a very lighthearted season that still has some very tough gameplay. And there you have it. That's why you should watch every single Survivor season. None of this happens without you guys. I'm sure we're guys been a weird microphone. Tell me your favorite season down below, and if that's it, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.